Am I the asshole? AITA for telling my GF's daughter she's not my daughter, so don't expect me to pay? Me and Iamra, 12F, have had a rough summer. She's been more defiant than usual. I've been dating her mom Mara, 30F, for 2 years now. 9 months ago, they moved in with me, Maple, 33M. Both Dio and Mara have an on-again/off-again relationship with Dio's dad, Dionysus. He's pretty much never paid child support, comes and goes as he pleases into Dio's life. Typical shitty-ass part-time dad. I've tried to fill the dad role in her life, while still understanding boundaries, taking things slow, etc. And #X200B. This summer Dionysus decides he wants to be a real dad and takes Dio in for a month. Good for him, not my business, and Mara agrees. When Dio came back home because school started, she was a lot different. Really mean to me, very dismissive. A few days ago she got caught shoplifting at the mall. Security took her and then called Mara, who didn't answer, then called Dionysus, who didn't answer, and finally me. I answered. They told me I had to pick her up or she'll be handed over to juvenile. And #X200B. I didn't say anything to her while I picked her up. I apologized to security, apologized to the store. I even tipped the security guards plus the store employees because it's fucked up they had to deal with that. I assured them Dio would be punished appropriately. And #X200B. I'm speaking to her in a strong, affirmative voice while we're in the car. Not yelling, but in a fatherly tone, I suppose. I'm telling her how fucked up it is to steal, and how I don't fuck with thieves, and how I absolutely don't voluntarily fuck with any kind of police, so I don't appreciate any of this nor will I accept it in my house. She snaps back that I'm not her dad, so don't ever tell her what to do. From now on, if I want to tell her something I need to clear it with her real father first. And #X200B. That killed my soul. For the past year or so, I've treated her as my own daughter. I've paid for their housing, I've paid for her mom's car, her schooling, her food, everything. Her bio dad dropped $100 check off one time in the past year. The fucking check bounced, so I had to call him up and he brought cash over. I told Mara about all of this. She was appalled at what Dio said, but she never made Dio apologize because she's not wrong, you're not her dad. And #X200B. A couple of days later Dio asks me for some money to pay for her uniform/accessories she needs for a sport she's involved in. I say go ask your dad. She scoffs and says her dad doesn't have the money for it, so I have to pay for it. I tell her, I'm not her dad, so don't ever tell me what I have to pay for. She cried to Mara, who tells me I'm not being an adult about the situation. Mind you, I never received an apology or a thanks for our entire previous situation. Mara says Dio is a kid and I need to stop acting like a kid too. If you want your comment to count toward judgment, include only one of the following abbreviations in your comment. If you don't include a judgment abbreviation, the bot will ignore you when it looks for the top voted comment. Judgment, abbreviation. Dash. You're the asshole, and the other party is not. AITA. You're not the a-hole, and the other party is. NTA. Everyone sucks here, ESH. No a-holes here, nah. Not enough info. Click here for our full rulebook. Some URL. Click here for our FAQ. Some URL. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please, contact the moderators of this subreddit /message/compose/?2=r/am/ItheAssHole, if you have any questions or concerns. ESH. This situation is so sad. You're making this about you. It isn't about you. This little girl is 12, and her home life is fucked. Of course she's acting out. Puberty is probably beginning to hit her like a ton of bricks, which isn't going to make her the most clear-headed person. This is when she needs the adult figures in her life to be stable, and you're being a petty asshole. Her bio dad has been MIA, and now he's showing interest in her life. To her, this is a big deal. Her mom doesn't seem to have a solid idea on how she wants you to fill a fatherly role in her daughter's life. And they're both right, you're not her dad. But that doesn't mean you can't fill a fatherly role. Your girlfriend sucks because she clearly can't co-parent effectively. This girl's bio dad sucks for being absent for so long, And you suck for being an inconsistent and unstable father figure. You and your girlfriend need to sit down and have a serious conversation about how parenting is going to work in your household. If you can't come to an arrangement that works for you both, you need to break up or go to a therapist until you can find something that works for everyone. Because the only one who is losing here is this little girl. Parenting is hard. Suck it up. Get used to being yelled at by teenagers. They're going to say and do things that crush your heart. It's awful. But it passes. And this is when she needs stability the most. Have you thought that maybe her bio dad repeatedly reminded her you're not her real dad to try and make her feel guilty in case she ever treated you as such? I think the fact she lived with her bio dad for a month and came back with an attitude is no coincidence. Something happened with her dad. She could probably use some extra kindness and caring right now. NTA. You're either the dad or not. They can't decide you're her dad only when it's convenient for them. ESH, she's a mean little girl but you handled her like a spiteful peer instead of an adult. Of course you can set firm boundaries for what you want to pay for but you don't have to be petty in your delivery. NTA, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You are not the father. They, yes, both of them, mother and daughter, have forgotten that you do not have to help them. This upsets me because they have begun to take you for granted. Although, you need to talk with them about what it is going on with you and how you feel about this whole situation. If at all possible, don't play their games. If worse comes to worse, you may have to take a break. But you have all rights not to not pay for anything. Let that part-time dad pay. NTA. See how upset everyone is about you not paying? That's because nobody cares about you. Only your wallet. Info. Does your girlfriend work? She should be the one paying for her daughter's extras like sports uniforms. I'm gonna say soft Huda for being petty to a confused kid. Yeah, she's being a little asshole herself but that's ultimately on her parents. NTA, your GF is. She has to decide if you'll be her daughter's father figure and have the same rights to the kid's raising as a father does, or if you won't be a father figure and stop paying for the kid. NTA, both Mara and Dio seem to treat you like an ATM. While a lot of blame here lies with her bio dad, and it's likely he's actively riling her up against you. It feels like you're primarily a source of money for Mara and Dio they can tap whenever they feel like it while still treating you like a random gopher the rest of the time. You should ask yourself if you're really hard up enough for the company to want to be in this kind of relationship. NTA. You're not her dad. Why undertake the father's responsibilities if she's going to act like that? Can't have it both ways. You're father enough to pay for their things, but not father enough to handle other issues like a father should be? Total BS. They're using you like an ATM. If I were you, I'd leave the relationship entirely. The wife's a gold digger, and so is her daughter. Edit. Just woke up, saw someone gave me Reddit gold for this, thank you. You know, my dad was in a very similar situation as you with my brother. Here's the asshole breakdown as I see it. Dio is a kid. She's a kid at an age where most of her friends have a dad, and she's different in a time when it's hard to be different. You're also only something that's shown up in the last 2 years. You're not married to her mom, and so you're potentially transient. There's a lot of insecurity ingredients to throw into the pot, and she's not really old enough to know what she's doing to you or with her bio dad. With the above in mind, you're an adult. If you're serious about being a father figure to her, you should know that you're playing at a handicap. Also, if you're going to play, you should be in it to win it. As you can already see with her real dad, half-assed dads don't cut it. Your partner needs to get her head out of her ass and figure out how this relationship with her child should really play out. If you're going to raise this kid together, then you need to be an indivisible team that pushes the idea that you have respect in the unit. If that doesn't interest her, then she shouldn't be subjecting you or this kid to a situation where you're forced to half-ass this dad situation, and shouldn't be shaking you down for a kid that's her problem. It sounds like she's acting like she's just a spectator in this, which is irresponsible. I also feel like sending the kid off to half-assed dad's place for a month without warning him to not poison her against you was pretty naive. Of course that was going to happen. He's probably playing good, no rules, cop tier bad, structured, cop. So in summary, you're an asshole for letting your own hurt drive you to take revenge on a child. By extension, you undermine the thing you're trying to be, a father figure. Your partner is an asshole for not clearly signaling to you or the kid what the relationship boundary here is while making you take up a mantle that you've not been given the authority to carry. Figure out what kind of front you two present. Seriously, you've been living together for 9 months, have this conversation. Kids are stupid, emotional, selfish creatures who don't know how to people yet. So, ESH. But kids usually suck, so cut her some slack. As maybe a consolation, after years of ups and downs, my dad was picking up my brother from a minor car wreck, and something clicked for my brother that night. He said, "You really are my dad," and my dad just laughed and replied, "You finally figured it out? If you do well, she'll figure it out. It might just take some time." Meta, 12-year-olds shouldn't be allowed to respond to these threads. NTA in any relationship, you need to accept the entire other person. She shouldn't expect you to play a fatherly role for her financially while not allowing you to play a fatherly role for her behaviorally. I can't take this post seriously, the names are too awful. NTA. Well, they were the ones who set the boundaries anyway. Why do you have to be a father now that they need money? SMH. Info. I just want to know how you tip the security guard and the manager in that situation. Like, here is some money for your trouble? That sounds so awkward and would not be accepted around here. Is that normal practice where you were from? AITA. She's 12 years old and you know her dad's a dick and that month was probably horrible for her and you threw the fact her dad sucks in her face. Grow up, get some counseling for your family. ESH. I understand your frustration and why you would say it. Your girlfriend sucks for expecting you to be dad but not letting you. The child is a 12-year-old. They can suck as well. Your girlfriend and her daughter need to understand that they can't have it both ways. Either you act as dad in all ways or you don't. NTA. Kid needs to learn talking shit has consequences. In most scenarios, I would say come in last minute and save the day. But, since she wants to say you have to. Time to teach her. No, you don't have to. NTA. But what the hell are these names, man? Removed. NTA. This wasn't a petty argument where this came up about going out or not doing chores. She was caught shoplifting when she said that. She needs some discipline in her life and honestly I think showing her how bad she hurt you was fine. I'd strongly recommend talking to her though. Don't just leave it at some petty feud. If you want things to get better, now's the time to be an adult. However, if you let this turn into a petty dispute between the two of you with no attempt to work it out, then you'll become an asshole. NTA. I think it was a justified response, so long as it only lasts a day or two for her to realize where she has gone wrong. Next step is to sit down and have a real good talk with her about your expectations of each other, and what's been going on with her lately. NTA at all. Either the kid wants you to play a fatherly role or not. She's trying to have it both ways. ESH. She is 12. You had an opportunity for a learning experience for her when she asked for money, but you instead used it for a petty retort. She's caught between multiple adults, likely giving her different views. You need to be patient, and try to teach her how to behave. If you were willing to pay for her uniform, you should have had an appropriate conversation beforehand, explaining why her previous "not my dad" comments hurt, and how you're happy to pay for her uniform, because she is part of your new family and she matters to you. And even if you're not her dad, you're more than just some guy. If you weren't willing to pay for the uniform, you should have rationally explained that too, so she understands the boundaries. Using her words back at her means you quite literally behaved like a 12-year-old instead. NTA. Just because her parents fucked up her family's situation doesn't mean you are responsible to pick up the scraps. I sympathize with the kid. It's clearly her father's word against you as a figure, but from what you say, you already pay for everything in the house. Why is she coming to you for money instead of her mom? You've been in her life for just 2 years. I don't think being petty in this case makes you an asshole. The kid needs to learn not everything is guaranteed. What will she learn from the situation if you just be adult about it? Nothing. She needs to realize that's not the way you treat someone who takes care and loves you. NTA. Being a step-parent is hard. It can't be a one-way street. It can't all be giving and getting nothing in return. Unfair that they expect everything on their terms. I can't get past these names, dude. Diamara is the child's name, right? Mom's name is Mara? Dad's name is Dionysus. My brain hurts. Be a good dad. Set boundaries and be respectful. I'm sure you're hurt by her rudeness, but don't get sucked into the ask your real dad trap. There are no winners. She's 12. Most children feel somewhat responsible for the breakup of their parents. They also miss the non-custodial parent if contact is limited or ending. She had a month with dad who wined and dined her as it were. He probably also reinforced the fact that you are not the dad. Now she's home. She probably misses her father and feels loyal and bound to him. Being nice to you is being disloyal to dad. She doesn't know how to resolve her confusion and guilt, so she's angry and you are the target. You and your wife should work out how to handle unacceptable behaviors. The steadier, less reactionary you can be, the quicker she'll settle down. She's heading into her teens. The more angry, defensive, critical you allow yourself to be, the more guilty, confused and angry she will be. Stepfather or not, the teens are rough. When you say ask your real dad or why would I pay for you if you're not mine, what she hears is I don't care, I don't want you, you're not my problem. There are no winners when this happens and you can resign yourself to years in hell. She still has only a small understanding of the ways adults use mind games to belittle, separate, and win over their opponents regardless of how severe the consequences might be. Buckle in, because the teens are bumpy whether you're a stepfather or not. Lamau et al. The AITA pitchfork. The mother is the asshole. She should have talked to the kid when Op informed her about the situation. But she didn't and basically shrugged it off with the she's right, you aren't her dad. How about sit down with your daughter and talk to her about what she is going through? How is he the asshole for putting a foot down to make a 12-year-old understand that words can hurt? NTA. She doesn't get to have it both ways. Plus her mother should be paying for it anyways. NTA. Yeah, what you said was petty, but relevant to recent events. Either you are or you aren't, and at 12. She's old enough to know that stealing is wrong, and saying mean things to someone who lives with you has consequence. #Dio, NTA. It's tough. If I were in your place, I'd probably do the same. Children need boundaries, so it's good to let her feel accountable for stuff she's saying and doing. You're not an ATM, ESH. Your girlfriend and her daughter are disrespectful and sound like they expect you to foot the bill for everything regardless of how they treat you. That said, you were really petty with your response to your girlfriend's daughter and could have definitely come at it with a more adult tone. NTA, but remember that being 13 is an extremely tough and confusing age. Her biological parents are already split, going through literal chemical changes in her brain, physical changes, etc. I agree with the point you are making, and think if Mara, you, and the daughter have a talk about what happened, you could try to let it go from here on out. Also, I would suggest not telling the daughter about the adult side of things with the father, check bouncing etc. It probably already hurts her enough that he's not as involved as she'd probably like. NTA, but you should definitely nip that shit in the bud and kick both them EBs out. NTA. This is not your kid. You can walk away at any time. You can set down whatever boundaries you want and Mara can walk away at any time if she doesn't like them. Anyone who thinks you suddenly have to make this child and her problems the center of your world is being sanctimonious. It is the mom's job to take on the responsibility of her daughter's current behavior and problems. ESH. She was embarrassed, she did a stupid thing and then she said a stupid thing trying to defend something obviously indefensible. It's just peak 12. But then you took it way too personally. Rather than reacting with something like, "No, I'm not your dad, but I'm someone who is here and you are a child I have taken on some level of responsibility for. You understand that if I hadn't you would have been turned over to the authorities instead. Are you sure that's what you would prefer?" You aren't acting great, but her mom really needs to get on board with some official role for you and a real punishment for her kid stealing and being rude when you helped. The grown-up, useful response to her asking for money shortly after getting in trouble could have been, "Let's have a family conversation about consequences. After all, I just spent a lot of money getting you out of that situation, and in real life, when you make choices that waste money, you don't get to spend that money on other things. So I think you might need to miss some opportunities to learn that lesson." You could even tell her the specific amount you spent tipping the store, and let her choose where she wants to sacrifice that amount from things you normally pay for. After all, that's what adults have to do in similar situations. But responding to her with a dig in the style of a snarky 12-year-old. It's not a mature look. It's not going to help her grow up or learn any lessons. NTA let her real parents pay for the spoilt brat. NTA walk away bro and go get your own family. Seems asshole-ish but you'll be so relieved when you do. Your girlfriend is not a good mother. She needs to teach her kids some manners. This whole situation makes me uncomfortable. The way you've been paying for everything. Feels like you're being used. NTA, I have two girls, 10 and 12. It's been 2.5 years since their dad and I broke up, we were never married, and 2 years since I've been with my boyfriend. They like him a lot, although there are still times when they are jerks. The main thing that we have had since the beginning is that they need to listen to him because he's an adult that is in our lives. If they listen to aunts, uncles, teachers, grandparents, friends' parents, whatever, they listen to him too. So if he's giving them rules or guidance, they treat him with respect. Her comments in the car were disrespectful, no matter who they came from. On the flip side of that, when it comes to day-to-day care that kids need, it's maybe not the time to hold them accountable for the shit things they say. Or maybe you could hold them accountable in a positive way. I want you to know that this is not something I need to do. I'm going to give you this money because you're important to me. It doesn't matter that I'm not your dad, but I still love you. And as part of that I need you to listen to me. Know that when I tell you something it's to help you. If you keep pushing me away then maybe one day I won't be there to help you. ESH. Kids are dumb. Talk to her, give her a chance to apologize. NTA. But the daughter isn't TA either. Her parents are. Father for being a terrible influence. Mother for not standing up to that. She's a confused 12 years. Hard to blame her for such behavior. NTA. I think it's really dumb how people act like all kids are just idiots. If you treat her in the same way she treats you then she will learn that it isn't good behavior. All these people saying just give her money and take the adult route is going to accomplish what? Just show her that you're a bitch who's gonna give her money at any point. Nobody how she acts. She doesn't have to recognize you as her dad and that's her right, but she at least has to recognize you as a step-parent and give you respect if she wants it in return. Also the mom needs to step up and be a parent here. Seems like she's not really doing anything. NTA. Your GF is just leeching on your money. Don't get married to her until she gets jack shit after shoplifting. Where's the punishment? She's at that age of snotwad behavior and thinks she knows everything and can play you off against each other. Some appropriate punishment is called for, like no after-school clubs for a while. Mara is the asshole here. She should have explained to her daughter that yeah, you are not her dad but you are the one carrying the responsibilities of a father and she had better had treat you with the respect you deserve. More problematically, children mimic the parents, so I wonder how much respect Mara gives you. NTA. Actually the big hole here is mom. I assume daughter goes to school. Is she not expected to be respectful and obey the authority of her teachers and principal? They aren't her mom or dad either. You may not be dad, but you are an authority figure in her life and you need to be spoken to respectfully. It's not the fact that she said you aren't her dad. It's how blatantly disrespectful she was behaving with the way she said it. That's what she needs to apologize for. And honestly I think you're absolutely right to tell her that if she can't respect you, then some things are going to change. You're not a walking wallet that lives in her house to fill in the holes whenever her dad can't. And really it's all up to mom to enforce this and she's not because she doesn't want her daughter to be mad at her. NTA. You're the boyfriend, not even the stepdad, so you're not even obligated to pay for their expenses. The girl can't just shoplift, be rude and expect you to pay. When I was 12 I got more punishment for less. The mother is TA because she even said that you're not the father, but still feels entitled enough for not paying. She can't even punish her child. She belongs on r/entitled parents. NTA. Mara supported Dio in her words that you are not her father. As not her dad you don't have to pay for shit unless you want to. She needs to learn that she'll reap what she sowed. If she's rude to you she can't expect you to be her servant too. WTF are these fake names? It's so hard to follow. NTA. All these people saying she's going through rough times. I was a complete asshole to my stepdad at 12. I made him cry so many times and all he wanted was to love me. All because he wasn't my real dad. Stupid excuse for a stupid kid. You're completely entitled to feel hurt and angry. This kid is acting out and painting you to be the bad guy in Mara's eyes. She either needs to cut Dinah out of Dio's life and make you full-time dad if you want to, or break up with you so you can find someone who will respect you appropriately. Uta, something is up with that month she spent with her dad. You guys need to sit down as a family, your girlfriend and her daughter. Counseling couldn't hurt either. Uta, because she's 12. Her bio dad is never around and she lives with her mom and her mom's BF and she's just figuring herself out. She was rude to you, but she said a thing kids say when they're in a bad place and are reacting to it. "You're not my real dad" is such a cliché. I'm sorry she hurt you, and I hope you told her mom and that she was properly punished and talked with about this. But she's 12. The thing she needs is someone who will be there for her no matter what. Her feelings for you and her bio dad will change about 100 times in the next 6 years as she grows up, and sometimes raising her is going to suck, but if you're with her mom you're gonna have to roll with it. The best thing you can do for this kid is love her and be there for her even when it doesn't feel like she deserves it. Uta, why are people saying NTA? Guys, she's 12 years old. 12. Do you have any idea how crazy their little brains and all those hormones are at that age? Their emotional regulation is so out of whack. 12 is one of the hardest stages to be. Your GF is right. She's a kid and she doesn't understand or empathize right now. She isn't capable of understanding the logic behind what you're doing. She's focused inwardly because she is 12. Grow up and stop acting like a kid yourself. Uta, this sounds like her cry for attention and she's possibly using you as a scapegoat because she's mad at her real father. Please just shower her in love and positive attention. I've been in a similar situation myself and no one picked up on it. I didn't intentionally behave wrong, and I only continued to go downhill. You're not my dad. No, but I will love you and support you and go to the ends of the earth for you. Uta. She's a confused kid being influenced. You're supposed to be the adult here. Uta. She's 12. Sounds like she's had it a bit rough, so be patient with her. NTA, you're completely right. Cannot believe there are so many knots here, Uta. This girl is 12, she said something when she was mad and emotional after being caught stealing. She is 12, and honestly dude, that you would say that shit to her is going to validate everything negative she feels towards you so much. A real parent parents a child and fulfills that role even when the kid is an asshole. Now she understands your parental love to be conditional. That's a great way to make sure your relationship stays shitty. If you were really invested in being seen as her dad, you would act like a father figure even when she said something crappy. Pubescent teen says, cruel thing to parent? It's only one of the most universal experiences in parenting. You fucked up. Fuck, dude. ESH. Everyone is being immature, and no one has an excuse except Dio. She's 12. 12. She's probably so confused. When my stepdad came into my life at a very young age, toddler years, my bio dad brainwashed me into hating him and thinking he was a bad person. He wasn't, and it's taken me years to get over that, and yes, I had attitude problems with him and lashed out, but he never once told me he wasn't my dad or did the petty shit you're doing now. You need to grow up. This is not about you. This is not a war between you and Dio, or you and your girlfriend, not even between your bio dad. This is about Dio and the unstable father figures in her life that don't know how to get over themselves. Uta, the mom is right. You're behaving like a 12-year-old lol. I get it though, these things don't come naturally and it's easier if you've watched the child grow. You'll never replace her bio father, but like it or lump it, you are a father figure. All children and TBH anyone who loves you, know exactly which buttons to push to hurt you. Kids struggle not to push all the buttons when they're overwhelmed by emotion. You, as the father figure, need to demonstrate how people don't push every button when they're angry or upset. If you don't show how to do it, you only make it worse. In particular, you need to not hold a grudge. Or you teach her that it is normal and you'll make your situation much worse. If it helps, remind yourself that your responsibility is showing her how to behave. Parenting is not about telling someone how to behave, it's about showing them how to behave. Good luck, smile. Uta. I typed out a long comment, but it can be boiled down to the fact that she's 12. You can't expect her to have a realistic perception of parents when you literally just described how bad her father is. Stop expecting her to be the bigger person. ESH. You for being petty and referring to this poor child as Dio. Your girlfriend for not being a stable parent. Her bio dad for being MIA and screwing with her life. Uta. She's just a kid and you're being outrageously immature. Uta, I had a stepfather and from the age of like 11 to 17 "you're not my real dad" was a commonly uttered phrase by me and he never acted like this. He was always there and always super patient with my ungrateful rebellious teenage ass. I respect the hell out of him now. This girl is a confused child and you're acting like a total jackass. ESH. Feels like being the dad has been made about money here? But my parents are still together and I'm 28, so I don't know what it's like to come from that kind of family life. I can't imagine it's easy for anyone, and not being an adult. You're basically behaving like a 12 years old. I'm honestly surprised that you're so shocked this was said. Kids are sometimes rebellious. Even with their bio parents. This is like the go-to phrase for young stepchildren when being disciplined by a non-bio parent. She's going to say several more shitty things to you in her life before she reaches adulthood. You can't take that so personally. Kids are assholes, and she's probably pretty oblivious to how not great her real dad is. Why? Because she probably feels the neglect and then a huge high when he pops back up acting like he'll stick around. Her focus is in obtaining his love and approval. Not yours. You're readily available. I hate to say it, but I have to go with this time. Dio is just a child, so you have to be an adult in the situation. I understand how hurtful it must have been to hear her say that, but just remember that you have decided to be the father figure her biological dad isn't. One day in the near/far future she will look back on your relationship and depending on what she sees, she will be grateful or resentful. Just keep that in mind and think about how you want her to think back on these years. Do you want her to see you as the guy who stepped up, paid and cared for her even though you weren't her biological dad, or the guy who got offended by an immature 12-year-old and became petty and bitter for it? ESH, you all need family therapy because what you're all doing to each other isn't right. There are some major problems that need to be addressed ASAP, otherwise they're going to tear your family apart. The kid is young, is clearly being manipulated, and you're reacting like she's an adult making her own decisions. It's a sticky situation, and hard to navigate, but you chose a bad path. ESH. You're a total asshole. She is clearly having trouble, you don't know what she went through during that month, and she's having trouble with a fucked up family situation. Trying to force yourself into the position of father is always a bad idea. Your talk, if it's verbatim, was also way more than stern. Imagine if the man your mother is dating said he wouldn't fuck with you when she had no choice about your involvement in her life. I see that as saying you were fine getting rid of her and keeping her mother. Finally, refusing to pay for her stuff now out of spite is childish. That said, the daughter is 12. Most 12-year-olds are assholes. She's stealing too, which is not excusable, even if you handled talking to her poorly. She also needs to learn some respect for the person financially supporting her. Let's not forget the mom. She is contributing to undermining your position. Even if you're not her father, she still needs to tell her daughter that you are her, so you should have the authority to lecture her for criminal behavior. This is a clusterfuck of no one trying to make this tough situation work. You devolving to childish behavior isn't helping. You should have talked to her and get mother about your relationship before giving her money again, not sniped back. If you want to be her father, work towards being her father. That means taking care of her even if she's being an emotional, moody teenager and saying things she doesn't mean. She's processing a lot right now and this is probably a tough time for her and a tough situation. She might even be lashing out at you as a self-defense mechanism, trying to push you away instead of letting you in because she could be afraid you'll leave, too. It seems childish and immature of you to stoop to a struggling 12-year-old's level and throw her words back in her face. The appropriate thing to do would have been to have a discussion with her about how her words hurt you and how you want to be there for her. ESH. Yes, she was rude, yes, she did something wrong. But are you even reading your own story? Greater than this summer, Dionysus decides he wants to be a real dad and takes Dio in for a month. Greater than when Dio came back home because school started, she was a lot different. There is an obvious connection here. Maybe her dad treated her badly, maybe he told her that you're not her real dad and made her feel bad for thinking of you as such. Listen, this sucks and I know some parents will disagree with me, but when you have a child in your life, whether that be your bio child, your stepchild or whatever, they will say mean things, things that will upset you and break your heart. Especially when they're teens, because why? They're still young. As adults we have the maturity to think, no, I won't say this because it will hurt this person who loves me immensely, or at least we should have the capability, but WTVR, but teenagers don't really think like that. It's not that they think like, oh, I'm gonna be so evil and make you feel bad, not really, it's just they get upset more easily, they feel justified in screaming and telling you hurtful things, but the moment they think it over they feel super bad. It's just something that comes with maturity. She should apologize. Yes, she hurt you and you deserve an apology, but you should look into that month with her father. Be the adult here, try to help her. Because you're the adult and you know that kids will rebel against their parents. For all you know, she's telling her bio dad that he didn't raise her, so he's not her dad either. This is where you separately talk to your girlfriend and her daughter. First, clarify with Mara what she wants from you. You're not Dio's dad, but you have been a father figure in her life and you're all living together. You need some parental authority for the living situation to work. Dio will rebel and say mean things sometimes, but if you have parental authority then you can be the one to insist that she apologize. Second, talk to Dio and tell her how much it hurt when she said you weren't her dad. Don't undermine her bio dad, but say that she has two dads and that you are going to be her dad no matter what. Tell her you will pay for her uniform and accessories as soon as she apologizes to you. If you're going to live together, she has to respect your role as a father figure. She shouldn't be involved in any financial discussion with you. My kid's stepdad paid for everything for my kids. They are late teens now and still don't realize just what he provided when he didn't have to. I hope someday they'll understand it. If the kid needs something, she needs to ask her mother. Her mother should then make whatever financial arrangements to provide necessary items. Yes, probably you paying. Her mother should let her know that you are to be thanked for the new uniform, or whatever, and they both need to appreciate what you're doing. But don't hold it over her head. She's 12 and doesn't get it. I also agree on a family meeting with mom backing you up. She needs to respect both of you. Side note, if one of my kids shoplifted, they'd lose every last thing they had, phone, games, TV, for a very long time. I don't tolerate liars and thieves. NTA. Not your child, not your problem. At least that seems to the message your GF and her daughter are saying. Mind you, they seem to forget this when they need something only you can provide. I'm sorry, but it can't work both ways. I'd say nah, I have experience in seeing somebody defend and love their shitty deadbeat father even though they don't support their kid for shit. She'll soon learn that her father sucks ass and she'll learn to stop giving him a pass. You should take the high ground and maybe still be a father figure so that she'll realize that her dad is an asshole. Harduta. Don't know what the FCK people are smoking. There's no redeeming factors here. NTA. I think the key here is to remind her that she's right, you aren't her daddy, but since her mom calls you daddy, she needs to respect grandpa. Uda as is your partner. I'm a step-parent, if that helps, and I know probably better than some how much these things can hurt when you do more than some absent or terrible parents for years and yet can be reminded you are not full parent status and put in your place with one comment. But kids do that, they lash out. It's an easy button to push and as adults we have to resist lashing back out. You're the asshole for how you spoke to your daughter. It makes you no better than her dad. She needs consistency, and fairness. Not pettiness. Your partner should be sitting down with you and presenting you both as a team to explain how she is expected to behave and respect you. No, you are not her dad, but you should still be listened to the same way an aunt would or a teacher would. It's understandable to not want to foot the bill for all expenses if you are being treated as though you are not part of the family, but you could have deflected this back onto the mother and talked with her later. There's nothing wrong with an "I'll speak to your mother and we'll let you know," present a united front. Uda, but not the worst kind. Keep in mind that she is 12 years old, has a very confusing life and just spent a month with a most likely very manipulative man. At that age she wants to impress her biological father and prove her worth to him, which leads he to being mean to you. Shoplifting and other things like that in her age are usually a cry for attention and shows that she is missing something in her day-to-day life. Also, puberty is going to start and hormones will begin to fuck her up. If you truly want to be a part of her life and have a peaceful time, you have to make sure that she understands that you will always be there for her and that you are not going to push her away simply because her biological father showed up again. You also have to explain to her that you have no intention of trying to stand in between her and him and have her make her own experiences with him. All in all, you should definitely tell her how you feel. She might not act like she doesn't care, but trust me, she will. I've had loads father figures come and go in my life and it destroyed a lot inside of me. So please make sure to put yourself back for a while, talk with her and her mother about it, if possible her biological father, and show her that she can trust in you, no matter what. Show her that she doesn't need to do bullshit to receive attention and that you will love her either way. NTA, you are supporting a family. They don't seem to appreciate it. In no way are you being an asshole for teaching a 12-year-old that what they say and do they have real-world consequences. Women want men to be okay with being disrespected, especially when it comes to providing. You may not be her dad, yet you are good enough to provide for them. Kick them to the curb. Send them back to the broke bitch real dad. No way they respect you. Super asshole away. Jesus Christ, I can't even read this with your stupid fake and confusing names. AITA for that reason alone, ESH. What your GF's daughter said was unacceptable and hurtful, but at the same time, she's only 12. Better to have a conversation to see what's going on with her and to reassure her that you care and are here for her. Still give her a consequence for her actions. But don't hold a grudge and use petty language. I hope that's mighty good poontang because you're paying the price. AITA. Dude, she's 12 and just lived with a guy who's been turning her against you. A 12-years/0 is easily influenced. She's already got a completely crap home life, what with her father being so absent. Don't do this to her now. When she's a little older and she does this shit, sure. But now? AITA. She's 12 and going through some shit. You can't claim to have been a dad for the past year and suddenly decide not to because it's got a bit tough. ESH strongly. There is a reason why kids say stuff like that really often. I don't love you, I hate you, or you are not my father. It is cause they are really immature and you acted with the same maturity as her. Yeah, she is a brat and impertinent girl. But if it's your decision to be with her mother and her is also your responsibility, part of the education. If you don't want them in your life, well, you know what to do. And your GF is also a big off for not putting the respect you deserve. Doesn't matter, you are not the biological parent. You should be treated with the same respect. So yeah, everyone sucks really bad in our story. Except for the real father, he is just a piece of shit. Deleted. NTA. Fuck that entitled kid. You can't say shit when it's about disciple, but you're supposed to pay when it's about what she wants? Lamau, fuck that. And you so is wrong by not even talking to her. Don't cave or you will clever just the moron that pays the bills. ESH. The problem is that kids are dickheads, generally speaking. Diamara is an asshole, that's her job, she is 12, that's really all they have to do at that age. Mara needs to step up though, you're paying for everything, trying to do your best, and it seems to me that she needs to appreciate that more. She has a kid who is kind of an asshole, but you're doing your best. However, you're the adult, and Diamara is a kid, you have to hold yourself to higher standards than her.